Good Saturday morning, April 8th, 2023. Continuing baseball records. This video, runs batted in career. There are 169 position players that I'm covering in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I want to look and rank all of them as far as runs batted in career. Let's go from 1 to 169. Who's number one? Henry Aaron, 2,297 runs batted in. Incredible. Who's number two? Babe Ruth, 2214, 2,214 RBIs. But you got to take note here. Henry Aaron played 795 more games than Babe Ruth. Yet he only beats him by about 170 RBIs. So if Ruth plays another 795 games, and let's say he's averaging what? An RBI a game? We could say maybe 125 to 150 RBIs. 795. You got to figure that Ruth possibly could have ended up with 2,900 RBIs if he plays another 795 games to match Henry Aaron. He may be number one. We don't know. Also, remember, his first 5 years he's pitching, so he's not getting very many RBIs. So Ruth played about, 22 years? And 5 or 6 of them are not as productive, right? Because he's pitching. So you got to figure 16, 17 years of RBIs, where Henry Aaron had 23 years of RBIs. I think Ruth would be right up there and surpass Henry Aaron in RBIs. But give credit to Aaron. He's number one, 2297. Ruth, 2214. 3, Cap Hansen, 2075 RBIs. That's what Baseball Reference says. So there's only 3 players in the Hall of Fame with over 2,000 RBIs. Aaron, Ruth, Hansen. Hansen played 27 years, so he racked up a lot of RBIs. Number 4 on the list, Lou Gehrig, 1,995 RBIs. Lou. Oh, I feel sorry for him. He got sick toward the end, took himself out of the lineup in his last season, didn't play again. He was 5 RBIs short of 2,000. But here's another thing with Gehrig. Aaron played 1,134 more games than Gehrig. Yeah, Gehrig's about 300 RBIs short. If Gehrig plays another 1,100 games, and if he's healthy, it's possible that Lou Gehrig could have had close to 3,000 RBIs because he played 17 years. He plays another 6 years like Aaron. Aaron played 23. Gehrig plays 23 years. I think he's close to 3,000 RBIs because what he was averaging had 185 RBIs one year. It had 150 RBIs, I think 4 or 5 times in his career. Lou Gehrig, RBI machine, and he falls short, 1,995 RBIs. Lou, feel sorry for him. 5th, Stan Musial, played a long time, 1,951. Here's another guy that could have had 2,000. He's 49 RBIs short of 2,000. Wow. 6, Ty Cobb, 1,944. How about that? He's not a home run hitter, yet he had 1,944 RBIs. Jimmy Fox, slugger, 1922. Eddie Murray, 1917. Willie Mays, 1903. And Mel Ott, 1860. That's the top 10. I want to count down. Let's look at some of these guys and how they produced. Kyle Yastrzemski, 1844. Ted Williams, 1839. Here's another guy. 3 or 4 years in the military and 1,800 RBIs. Give him 4 more years in his prime. 125 RBIs a year times 4. That's what? About 600 more RBIs. It's possible that Ted Williams could have been close to 2,500 RBIs. He plays those 3 or 4 years. Ken Griffey, 1836. Dave Winfield, 1833. If I look over here, I'm looking at my list. So I'll go back and forth, okay? Dave Winfield, 1833. Al Simmons, 1828. Frank Robinson, 1812. David Ortiz, 1768. Honus Wagner, 1732. Frank Thomas, 1704. Reggie Jackson, 1702. Jim Thome, 1699. Cal Ripken, 1695. Tony Perez. Tony Banks. Tony Perez, 1652. Ernie Banks, 1636. Harold Baines, 1628. Some people question whether Harold Baines should be in the Hall of Fame. If he has 1,600 RBIs, you got to put him in. Chipper Jones, 1623. Goose Goslin, 1612. Nap Lajoie, 1599. George Brett, 1596. Mike Schmidt, 1595. Andre Dawson, 1591. Rogers Hornsby, 1584. Harmon Killebrew, 1584. Al Kaline, 1582. Jake Beckley, 1581. How about Beckley? Not a home run guy. He has 1,500 RBIs. Willie McCovey, 1555. Fred McGriff just made the Hall, 1550. Put him in. 1,500 RBIs. You're an automatic for the Hall of Fame. Come on. Harry Heilman, 1543. Willie Stargell, 1540. Joe DiMaggio. There's another guy. 1537. And he plays 13 years. Give him 7 more years to get 20 years, or give him 10 more years of RBIs. Where does Joe DiMaggio end up? Again, Aaron played about 1,500 more games than Joe DiMaggio. Give Joe DiMaggio 1,500 more games. 100 RBIs, roughly, if he's healthy. That's 1,500 more RBIs. So he has 1,562. Figure if he got another 1,500, that's close to 3,000 RBIs. That's the pace that Joe DiMaggio was on. Man. What could have been? What if? Chris Speaker, 1531. Jeff Bagwell, 1529. Sam Crawford, 1523. Mickey Mantle, 1509. Here's a guy, 18 years, 1,500 RBIs. Give him 20, 23 years. He'd be close to 2,000 RBIs if he was fully healthy. Mickey Mantle. Vladimir Guerrero, 1496. Billy Williams, 1475. Ed Delante, 1466. Eddie Matthews, 1453. Jim Rice, 1451. George Davis, 1440. Yogi Berra, catcher, 1430. Very good for Yogi. Charlie Gehringer, 1427. Joe Cronin, 1424. Jim Botany, 1422. Robin Yount, 1406. Ted Simmons, 1389. Joe Medwick, 1383. Johnny Bench, 1376. Orlando Cepeda, 1365. Brooks Robinson, 1357. Johnny Mize, 1337. Mike Piazza, 1335. Duke Snider, 1333. Ivan Rodriguez, 1332. Rod Santo, 1331. Carlton Fisk, 1330. Roger Connor, 1323. Pete Rose, 1,314. He's played the most games. He has 1,300 RBIs. He plays 3,500 games, right? And has 13 RBIs. I told you if other guys played 3,500 games, they'd be close to 3,000 RBIs. Contrast Pete Rose with some of the other RBI machines like Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio and even Babe Ruth. Those guys are the RBI machines. Pete Rose is the guy who gets on and scores the runs. We'll look at the runs in another video. But Pete Rose, the most games, and he has 1,300 RBIs. Derek Jeter, 1,311. Larry Walker, 1,311. Paul Wainer, 1,309. And Sam Thompson. I want to take note right here. Sam Thompson, 1,308 RBIs. But what's significant about Sam Thompson? I did some research. 1,400 games, 1,300 RBIs. Close to an RBI a game played. Close. 0.92, you want to be exact. 0.92 RBI per game he averaged for his career. So let's look at Sam Thompson and say, hey, what if you want to match Sam Thompson with the same number of games as Henry Aaron, he would need 1,888 more games because he played 1,300. If he's averaging 0.92 RBI per game, extrapolate it. 1,888 times 0.92 that he averaged of RBI per game. He would have had a possible 3,058 RBIs if you multiply his average of RBIs per game. It's possible that Sam Thompson would be #1 RBI king if he played the same number of games as Henry Aaron, who leads on top as far as Hall of Famers with the most RBIs. What do you think of that analysis? Agree or disagree? 1,308 RBIs in 1,410 games. You got to look at the games played and how many RBIs they produced, and then look at the average. Sam Thompson, I got him #1 of the RBI king if he played 3,200 games. And if he played 3,500 like Pete Rose, look out. He could have had 3,400 RBIs for his career. Sam Thompson, very unique on this list. Paul Molitor, 1,307. Roberto Clemente, 1,305. Ennis Slaughter, 1,304. Hugh Duffy, 1,302. Dan Brothers, 1,301. Eddie Collins, 1,299. Scott Rowland, 1,287. So that's the top 79. Number 80 on the list, as far as ranked players in the Baseball Hall of Fame, is Hank Greenberg. And here's another guy. 1,274 RBIs, but he did it in 1,394 games, just like Thompson. Thompson, 1,400 games, 13 RBIs. Hank Greenberg, 1,400 games, almost 1,300 RBIs. So extrapolate for Hank Greenberg and say, what if? What if he plays another 1,900 games in order to match Aaron? It's possible that Hank Greenberg was on a pace for 3,000 RBIs if he played 3,200 games, just like Aaron. Because look at, I have it right here. 1,394 games, 1,274 RBIs. He was averaging about 0.91 RBI per game, almost 1 RBI a game for Hank Greenberg. Some of these guys had the potential if they had had a longer playing career, but they didn't. Why doesn't Greenberg have a long career? Military again. I believe it was 4 years in the military, especially in his prime. So Sam Thompson, Lou Gehrig, Hank Greenberg, Joe DiMaggio, and Babe Ruth all have a what-if situation. And all these guys, these 5 guys, could have had 3,000 RBIs in their career if they play over 3,000 games or 3,200, or in some cases, 3,500 games. Too bad they didn't. Could you imagine a stat on your baseball card? 3,000 RBIs, just like 3,000 hits is a milestone, right? 3,000 RBIs would be incredible. Thompson, Gehrig, Greenberg, DiMaggio, and Babe Ruth. These five guys are the RBI producers in baseball lore, baseball Hall of Fame, baseball history. All right, I covered the first 80. The next video, I'll go from 81 to 169, countdown as far as the RBIs of what the Hall of Famers, what their final RBI total is. I'll comment on some of the guys as we go along. Thanks for watching. I'm out.